welcome back to Lightfoot Effects. I'm your host, Jay Lightfoot, and today we're going to be continuing part 2 of a 3-part series on the Universal Audio amp modelers. If you haven't already, check out my first video of the Ruby, which we did. I'll link it right here. In that video, I go over the Ruby and how I would dial it in for a live situation, and I go over more about what I think of the modelers in general. Today we're going to be reviewing the Universal Audio Dream 65. Just like in the Ruby video, we're going to be reviewing the pedal, and then I will dial it in and show you how I set it up when I use it live. And we'll be playing it through this Veritas Mini Master with Lawler P90 pickups. With that said, let's get to it. Alright, so today I'm running the Dream 65. I'm going into the mono, and then we are coming out stereo, and then going into the Walrus Canvas stereo line isolator. Then from there we're going, just like in my first video, the Ruby, we're going right into the Apollo Twin X with 2 XLRs. I have it set to about -9 for the gain on the Apollo. If you watch my first video about the Ruby, which I linked at the beginning of this, I go more into detail on why I set the gain and the output to that. That said, let's get into demoing this. So first you have the output here. This controls the overall level. This will not affect the gain in any way. I can have it low or I can have it high, and it's supposed to sound the exact same. It just changes the volume. There is the Fletcher-Munson principle though, or Fletcher-Munson curve, which is where the higher I turn this up, the more highs you'll probably hear. The lower it goes, the less highs you have. I go more into that in my first video with the Ruby. It doesn't actually change the tone, it's really just how our ears perceive it based on how loud it gets. This here is a built-in reverb, just like on a 65 reverb. Right now we're set on the first speaker, which is the GB25. And what we'll do is go ahead and kind of dial in a sound with this guitar. The volume here is just going to increase the gain, but you'll lose headroom, just like on a Fender 65 amp. This is how you get more amp overdrive. This is just overall output. That being said, we'll start everything on neutral. I'd go a little higher. Let's give it some bass. We'll take out some highs. Okay, that should be good for demoing. That right there is the GB25 speaker, which is a vintage Celestian greenback. We have the Oxford, which is the middle one. That's an original Oxford 12K5-6 speaker, and it's mic'd with a SM57. Down here we have the EV12, which is a classic 12-inch 200-watt Electro Voice EVM12L with a massive magnet, it says. Cool. And then it's being mic'd with a 414 condenser mic. Oh, and then I forgot, with the GB25, that one's being mic'd with an M160 ribbon mic. I think I really like that one. That or the EV12 are kind of my top two. So if you register the pedal on their website and you plug it into either a computer or the app, you unlock 3 more cabinets. And then you just keep scrolling through this switch and it switches to green. With those unlocked, the GB25 becomes a boutique 2-rock 2x12 with the Celestian G12 65s. That is mic'd with a 57 and a 121 ribbon mic, so they must be blend micing it. Gotta love the 2-rocks, those are really good amps. If we go down to the Oxford, it is now a vintage 1966 4x10 Fender Super Reverb cab with the original CTS speakers, and it's mic'd with a 414 condenser. And then when we're back on the EV12, it's a vintage 1968 2x12 Fender Twin Reverb with the original JBL D120F speakers And that is mic'd with a SM57 and a 121 ribbon mic, so they must be blending those again as well for that one. If you ask me which ones my favorites are, it's probably going to be the 2 Rock right here. It just feels really good. And then if we go back to the stock speakers, I am torn between the GB25 or the EV12. The EV12 is a lot tighter, more responsive. It has a little, maybe more scooped in the mids. It has a little more highs and a tighter low end. When I get to the GB25, it gets a little more flubby, like I would expect out of a Fender. The Oxford is not really doing it for me. I don't have any like good low end, and it's just it just seems a little ice picky to me. But that could be dialed out easily. I haven't messed with the EQ. Which funny is, the Oxford is the actual classic. According to the documentation, that's the actual speaker, right off the shelf from 1965. I must not like actual 65 amps Fender black faces. It just doesn't have a lot of body, it feels like. I'll probably leave it on the GB25 for this here. What we'll go through now is the knobs. These are set up just like a normal Fender Deluxe reverb. You got the bass and the treble. Bass is gonna go, you know, no bass all the way up. Whew, that's heavy. And then we've got the treble here, of course. We'll switch the bass back. That just gets really bitey, really quick. It honestly sounds good with the treble all the way off even. And just like on the Ruby, you have a boost circuit. And this is actually, they're going to be mods, they call them for this. So each amp you select is a different mod. Or not amp, sorry. This will actually just change the mod as if the amp has been modified. So we've got stock. It says use stock for the cleanest tones. In stock, the boost knob will add clean gain, but the tone of the amp will remain the same. So let's try it. I'm going to adjust these EQs first back to kind of where I had them. Okay, yeah, it is giving it a tiny boost. It doesn't seem like it's breaking it up much more, but definitely a little volume increase. Then we have what's called lead. If we switch to that mode, this will remove the bright cap when the knob is above off. If this is set to off, it seems like whatever I switch these to, it's not going to do anything because this isn't engaged. We can go to lead. It's going to give you a warmer sound as you increase the boost knob. Up to the 10 o'clock position or so, it adds some mid-range. That's where they call it lead boost. So let's try it. If I bring this up now, it should lower. It should darken it a little more. I guess I could hear that a little bit. So that is the lead channel, and then we've got the DTEX, which is also known as the SRV mod. This is supposed to add more mids too. Let's see. Sounds great. Just like the Ruby, this pedal, you can save your presets if you hold this switch in the down position. If you flick this switch to the down position, it'll save it in the app, and you can give it its own name. You can have up to, as far as I can tell, you can save as many presets as you want. And what I do is you can connect your phone with Bluetooth, so before I play anywhere, the night before I will actually connect my phone to the Dream and the Ruby, and I will call up my presets. And then this will remember the last preset you called, which is kind of nice. So you don't have to do it right before a show. You can set your amp the night before or before the gig starts. And if you turn this off, even if you unplug it, plug it back in, this will recall your last preset. I've tested this. I don't think they say it for sure in the manual, but that's what it's been doing for me. So it'll always be the last preset you used, which is nice. So I can prepare the night before. Depending on what guitar I'm bringing. I have a different preset for every guitar. Alt mode will set the vibrato. Pretty cool. I don't think this changes depending whether the mod is switched. It's just vibrato straight across. That's if you switch the alt to alt. And if you go back to amp, then you can change these around again. Once again, we forgot about reverb. So we can go with reverb here. This is emulating a spring reverb, and it does it very well. I feel like I'm on the beach. Oh, that's just great. I could play with that all day. It just sounds so good. Those lower amounts. Well, there's really nothing else to show you here, so let's get it on the pedal board, and I'll dial it in with how I would play it live, and we'll just kind of mess around and see how it sounds with pedals. Okay, quick shot of my pedal board here. Just so you can see, I've got the Dream hooked up right here. Okay, so like I said, we've got the Dream hooked up and it's running stereo into the canvas now, going into the Apollo Wind. So we'll take a look at how I would set it up for a guitar like this with P90s. Here's how it is with how it is set now. I put it on the middle setting on purpose. So what we'll do is we'll change it. This is the amp I think I prefer up here on the top. Try it now. So what I do is we will set the output. This is about right. Let me make sure. I usually have it a little quieter than that, somewhere around here. I'm just trying to get it to -9. I'll turn the reverb all the way off because I actually won't use that live because I have my own reverb pedals, so it'll just make it muddy to combine multiple reverbs. And what I want to do right off the bat, I'll leave the boost off I don't use that either. I just play without any of the mods. I know, I'm boring. I like things simple. Simple and easy. So I don't like the high end I'm getting, so I'm going to start by turning the treble down, and then we'll turn the bass up somewhere around here. And then what we want to do is get the gain to where if I play light and then play hard, it'll get more edge of breakup, and if I play light, it'll be clean. That's too clean. It's not right where I want it, so I'm going to turn up the gain a little bit, or the volume in this case is what they call it. Let's turn that up. Let's try it to there. Could go a little higher, I think. Let's see how it sounds now. And then we'll test the neck. That's right around where I think I'd be happy with it. So what we're going to do now is just mess with the frequencies. I still think it could use a little less highs. I'm looking for body. See, I'm not looking for too much high and I'm not looking for too much bass. I want all the frequencies to be pretty even. So wherever I'm playing, it gives the sound guy at the board a good range to work with. He has a pretty good neutral tone. Gotta check the neck pickup. And then middle, just for fun. The bass I feel like is pretty good. Another way to test the bass is we can twist it up and down and see where the frequencies are changing. So I'll play a chord and then I'll turn this, so I'll show you. See how it changes a lot? I like to get it right to where the frequency pops out the most and go a little beyond that. It's going to be right about there. And then we'll do the same thing with the treble side. So you can hear there's way too much up there. You can hear it just change drastically. Now it's just super harsh, so I actually want to bring that treble down a lot. Somewhere right around there. And I would go even further, because if this gets louder, that treble is going to come out even more and it's going to get too ice picky. So I like to go a little darker to be on the safe side. So if they boost me at the front of house, just the right amount comes out. So we're going to lower that some more. A little more, I think. That's right around where I want to be. I'm actually going to give a tiny bit higher now. We're going to give some back. It was almost a little too dull. A little bit more back. So we'll put some reverb on. So what we'll do is I'm going to give it just a tad more low end and bring the highs up just a tiny bit more. Changed my mind. I want them lower. I'm just trying to get like a good balanced sound still, without it getting too dull. You know, you want to get right where it's all pretty even. I feel like that's it, or that's as good as it's gonna get, without putting any EQ on it or anything like that. Let's hear it. So we'll try low gain drive. I'm kicking on the Benson preamp. And to be honest, I don't really have it dialed in for this guitar. I haven't used it in a while. So let's try the kilt, which is heavier. And then we'll try the kilt with the red side. Let's try it with a boost. Overall, I'm pretty happy with that. We'll test it out. I'm going to do some more testing here. So overall, I'm really happy with that tone. Tones! Oh, it's so good. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Universal Audio Dream 65. It's a great amp. It has my full approval. That and the Ruby are great. Oh man. Anyways, great pedal, super realistic. I could talk more about it, what I think of them and how they respond. Feel free to watch my Ruby video, which is the first video in this 3-part series where if you go to the end of the video, I give more of my thoughts about these pedals in general and how they respond compared to other modelers. And that pretty much wraps up that video for the Dream. So we got one more. Next week we'll be publishing one about the Woodrow. If you're at all interested in these pedals, I'll link them below. You can buy them through my Amazon affiliation. It just helps the channel, lets me get more gear so I can make better content, better quality videos. Thanks for tuning in. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks. See you.